My name is Martin Cumba. I've been married this year, be 40 years, to a lovely wife named Alice. She's my passion, after God, naturally. But that's what it's all about. We met in Bible college, and we formed our life together. We have 2 lovely children and 6 lovely grandchildren who live in the area. Well, what's interesting about that, I'm a sports lover. I love sports, I love participating in it, I love softball, I love soccer, and I still play softball. Many people tell me I'm old, slow, and still can't play softball, but I can still hit the ball out of the park. But I was waking up one morning, one day, to watch World Cup soccer, which was in the other part of the universe, actually, the part of the world, and I was getting up early one morning, and I got up and I was feeling the whole bathroom just turning around. My wife took me to the local hospital here in Washington, and they sent me home and said, you know what, just take some, after an MRI, and did some tests. They sent me home, and right before my very eyes, she was saying, she called the doctor and said, you know what, my husband is not doing well. After a series of tests, after a series of things, they found out that I had a blockage at the base of my brain back here that was affecting my equilibrium. I was discovered to have what they call a condition called vertigo. Vertigo is constant dizziness, where yourself or the room is constantly moving, and it was constantly moving, and it was occurring for a period of 9 years. I would go into work, and sometimes I could drive myself, and other times I could not drive myself. I would have my wife have to drive myself. There's some times that I could not even stand. I would have to go and balance myself through the walls, and people thought sometimes I was drunk, even though I didn't drink. I would go from wall to wall, just zigzag, zigzag. People were wondering, well, what is going on with Marty? What's going on with him? They did this battery of tests, and they said, there's nothing we can do. This is just the way it's going to be for you until, you meet your maker. That's just how it is. As a matter of fact, it reached such desperate that in August of last year, I had a company vehicle. I had just gone to a new company vehicle, and I had 32 miles on it. And I had an accident. $5,000 worth of damage. The following week I drove again, and I ran into back another vehicle, and I said enough. I put my keys to the side. I told my wife, I said, hon, if you wouldn't mind just driving me for the next several weeks. She just wanted to drive with me. The difficulty for me was that after 9 years of just praying and waiting on God, sometimes even as a Christian, you lose hope. You get despair. I felt sometimes like God had forsaken me. I sometimes felt like I was depressed, and I said, what's the point? I would read the Psalms, and I would see what, God would sometimes, what the psalmist, David, would say to God, God, where are you? Where you have forsaken me? What's going on? One Sunday morning, we're here in church, and God's presence was just so great. The Spirit of God was just moving. And we were just in the middle of the worship, and we just saw where God's presence was just so phenomenal. And I heard a voice, a very audible voice. That voice said to me, go up front. And I just said, what for? And I'd never felt my feet moved. And I just felt myself floating towards the front of the altar. All of a sudden, I could not stand anymore. I just fell to my knees, and I just started raising my hands and praising God. I then, a few moments later, felt an out-of-body experience. I saw myself at the altar, like raising myself, and I saw myself raising my hands, praising God. Then I heard the voice again say to me, no more vertigo. At that point in time, I felt myself join my body again. And I just saw myself just praising God, thanking God, thanking God. I looked around, I saw Pastor John, and his eyes and eyes met. And he smiled like he had heard the same voice. And I heard the same thing. And then I went up to him and says, Pastor Johnny, I just heard that God said to me, no more vertigo. And he said, there's more to come. And I just left with such a great emotion, great feeling that day. And it was just such a great emotions for me. I just felt relieved. I told my wife, I told my son, I told anybody that I could. What happened to me after that? I can say that I just felt a complete healing, complete relief. No longer did I feel that downcast. No longer did I feel the room spinning. No longer did I feel that I had to be inhibited. I went back to the neurologist. The neurologist says, Mr. Cumba, well, I can tell you, you don't have that blockage there any longer. He said, I don't know what's taking place, but all I can say is that, and I told him, doctor, I know what's taking place. My God has healed me. He said, well, we're going to believe that. He says, you are my miracle. He says, you are my most difficult challenge ever, but now I can tell you with a certainty that you are my miracle. I'll now play softball. I'll now participate fully in sports. I'm able to run my business. I go to work as I did before. I work my 10, 12 hours a day. I attend church. I participate in a lot of things. I feel renewed. And like I said, I'm going to be 61 years old this year. I thought of retiring. I thought about doing a lot of things, but I am renewed. I feel young again. I feel like I can do a lot of many things. I am involved. I am renewed. And I feel like I can conquer the universe right now. So praise God because His healing touch. Those 9 years seem a long time to me. But all I can say is that praise God that His healing mercies are always there. And if, like I says, I just don't know how to thank God because every day when I stand up, when I wake up and I feel the relief, but I feel I don't have that cloud over me, but I don't feel that buzzing, I don't feel that spinning around, I just feel that and I thank God because He has healed me.